Today, we're diving into the tough situation with the Las Vegas Raiders. Unfortunately, they just suffered a disappointing 26 loss on the road against the Los Angeles Rams, a team that many thought might be one of the weakest in the NFL due to their injuries. In this game, Gardner Minshew stepped in for the injured Aiden O'Connell, but things didn't go well. He threw 3 interceptions and the team had 4 turnovers overall. To make matters worse, penalties were a huge problem, with the Raiders racking up 10 penalties for 80 yards, while the Rams only had 3. It was a frustrating game to watch. Adding to the Raiders' woes, Aiden O'Connell has a fractured thumb and will be on injured reserve for about 4 to 6 weeks. To fill the gap, the team has signed Desmond Ridder. While he started 13 games for the Atlanta Falcons last year, completing 64.2% of his passes for over 2,800 yards, he also threw 12 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. This situation is tough for the Raiders. O'Connell had shown some promise in his last 2 games, throwing for 455 yards with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Meanwhile, Gardner Minshew has struggled with just over 1,100 passing yards this season, 4 touchdowns, and he's tied for the most interceptions in the league alongside Jordan Love and Patrick Mahomes. In Sunday's game, all of the Rams' points came from Minshew's turnovers. The receiving game was also lackluster, with only 2 players catching passes. Trey Tucker had 3 catches for 36 yards, and DJ Turner managed just 2 catches for 13 yards. It's clear that things need to change, and we'll discuss just how bad it has been in today's video. But before we jump in, if you enjoy our content, please hit that like button and subscribe for weekly updates on the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's aim for 50 likes, folks. Your support means the world to me. Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to start climbing back up, and that seems to be the case for the Raiders. We'll talk about Antonio Pierce in a moment, but it's clear that there hasn't been much interest in keeping things the same. If no one wanted to keep Luke, including Antonio Pierce and the Chicago Bears, that says a lot. Originally, Cliff Kingsbury was supposed to be the Raiders' offensive coordinator. While I often critique Antonio Pierce's in-game decisions, like that 4th and goal situation we'll discuss shortly, I really dislike the idea of firing a coach every year. It doesn't help the team build consistency. However, I'm not thrilled with some of Pierce's choices, especially considering his lack of coaching experience. If this rough season, just 7 games in, can lead to finding a franchise quarterback or a more capable offensive coordinator or head coach, then maybe it will be worth it in the long run. But let's be honest, finding a franchise QB is tough. I would love to see a college offensive coordinator like Cliff Kingsbury come in and bring some fresh creativity to the team. Just look at what he's done with Jaden Daniels. His team is 5-2. Even after Jaden got banged up against Carolina's defense, they still won 40-7. Sure, it's the Panthers, but remember, the Raiders struggled against the Rams too. I really hope Antonio Pierce can make some positive changes soon. The team needs it. There was a crucial play that really stood out to me. With just 2 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock, the Raiders were down by 8 points against the Rams. It was 4th and goal from the 8-yard line. Instead of going for a touchdown, the decision was made to kick a field goal. I understand the thought process. Put some points on the board, keep all 3 timeouts, and hope to get the ball back. And yes, that's exactly what happened. But then Gardner Minshew threw another interception, which was frustrating. In that situation, I would have preferred to go for it on 4th and goal. If we didn't score, we could still stop the Rams 3 times and get the ball back in a better position, maybe around midfield, rather than starting from the 25 or 30-yard line with no timeouts and just a minute and a half left. Watching Minshew struggles makes it even more frustrating. It really grinds my gears because I just can't understand the coaching philosophy behind that decision. As a fan, it seems so clear to me. I wish Antonio Pierce would take a bit more accountability and acknowledge that this move didn't make sense to anyone. On a brighter note for the Raiders, there's some exciting talent to look forward to. Brock Bowers is a standout player, currently the top tight end. He has 47 catches on 60 targets for a total of 477 yards. In the game against the Rams, he had an incredible performance with 10 catches for 93 yards on 14 targets. The good news is that we've found a superstar in Brock Bowers at tight end. He's an incredibly versatile and impactful player. However, the overall performance of the team has been lacking. The offense currently ranks 24th in points and 25th in total offense, while they are 3rd in rushing. Unfortunately, they are also tied for 5th in the most sacks allowed.
Added extra unnecessary pressure on him, but I mean, that's the type of guy that we've seen, you know, on different, on the other side of
great either, especially with injuries like Christian Wilkins being out for the entire season, which is a huge blow. However, I want to highlight that the defense didn't lose this game for the Raiders. They only gave up 20 points, and in the second half, they really stepped up. The defense held the Rams to just 259 total yards of offense, recorded an interception, and had a sack. They also limited Los Angeles to only 2 out of 10 on 3rd downs and allowed just 2 scoring drives. If your defense is giving up only 2 scoring drives, you should be in a position to win. But when your offense can only manage 15 points, it's a tough road to victory. This game reminded me of that frustrating Vikings game where it was tied 0-0 in the 4th quarter. Honestly, I would have preferred to lose 3-0 on a field goal than to sit through that. At that time, I thought it was the worst game I'd ever seen in my NFL viewing history. Now, I might even say the game against the Rams was worse. I'm seriously considering just putting on Red Zone during these games to avoid the pain. And to make matters worse, things don't get any easier with a home matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs coming up. Next up, the Raiders have a road game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Right now, it feels like the season might be a wash, but we've seen this team turn things around before. Last year, they were just 1 game away from making the playoffs, and it's worth remembering they lost to Gardner Minshew in a crucial moment. Where did that version of Minshew go? As for the quarterback situation, I'm not too keen on Desmond Ridder starting. I actually prefer the rookie backup over both Gardner and Ridder. Honestly, I'd rather see Gardner Minshew start every game for the rest of the season instead of Desmond Ridder. But you never know how things will play out. A win against the Kansas City Chiefs could really change the trajectory of the season. I'm not saying they'll go on a winning streak and finish 12-5 or even make the playoffs, but at this point in the season, only 7 games in, there's still hope. A victory over the Chiefs would mean a lot. I'm curious to hear from my fellow Raiders fans. Who do you want to see starting at quarterback? Are there any coaching changes you'd like to see? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for daily Raiders content. See you tomorrow. Peace.